the conference is about crossroads. And I hope we're at a crossroads for humanity. And I'm hoping that this crossroads is going to take us someplace better than where we are. Because our species is really screwed up. I'm from the US. I was taught to always be 10 minutes early to everything. I've lived in India for 18 years, which means I spend a lot of my life waiting a half an hour or 45 minutes for things to get started. I love smartphones. In the early years in India, when they didn't have smartphones, I would just be pissed off. But now at least I can work, or I can play solitaire or other games. Turn that down. Sound guy? Can we turn this down just a little bit? Yes. I'm getting feedback. All right, so tell me about yourselves. I see mostly students, I think. So what are you studying?
I study media and exhibition.
Okay. Animation? And where?
MIT.
MIT here in Pune, okay. And we've met. But you want to...
/teacher.
Okay. You're teaching... Okay, anywhere, okay.
I'm Anup. I run a video games company in Pune.
And the stuff he's doing is amazing. Like, I'm a revolutionary game designer, and he showed me stuff yesterday that I never even imagined. Really cool stuff. You should check out their website. And this
Touch Magics with an X.
Touch Magics, and they're doing something to bowling alleys that is so incredibly cool. I mean, and I grew up, bowling. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, if I was a kid, it would take the experience of bowling to it's a totally new idea level. Okay, what about you guys?
I'm going to Professor Manish Jain in IIT.
Okay.
I my name is Nisha.
Okay.
I'm Shreya Benson, and we all three are immersive media designers.
And where?
MIT.
In MIT, okay. All right. You guys?
I'm Rituja, and I'm doing product design
In MIT, okay.
Manish, I'm a user experience design. Both of us are currently working on a board game.
A board game. All right, excellent.
My name is Vasu, and I'm a product design engineer in Touch Magics Media.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay, you guys are all right. So one of the cool things that a lot of people don't realize, card games can't be patented. Do you know why? Because the underlying design of a card is a card, but a board game can be patented. And in India, the central government loves patents. So if you want to get help from the central government, don't do card games. Okay. Are you French?
Kenya. Yeah.
Huh? From
Yes.
Kenya? Okay, cool.
No, I'm not from Kenya. I'm from Guadeloupe, but it's French.
Is it an island?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a French department.
Good. And what are you doing in India? You study here?
Yes, I'm a student in computer science,
Right.
but I'm a freak of games.
Okay.
I really love games.
Good.
And I want to divert into the game design and game development.
And I tell people that when I'm looking to interview people either for internships or jobs, the first thing that I'm looking for isn't computer skills. It's do you love games? Why did the lights go off? Oh, okay. All right, I can't see you. Oh, there you are. All right, you're not a student, are you?
I'm not a student, I'm faculty of animation. My name is Vinod,
Hi, Vinod.
and at MIT Institute of Design.
Great, MIT, okay.
We're from Ballot Academy. I'm a third level student of interaction design.
Okay. Pearl, where in India?
Delhi.
In Delhi.
I'm a graduate of Full Sail University.
Where?
Full Sail University, London.
All right.
My name is Akshay.
And what did you graduate in?
I graduated last year, 2018.
I know, in what?
In video game art and design.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. We just met, kind of. You're a designer?
No, I just presented in the session before you.
Right.
Yeah, I run a marketing company.
Oh, marketing. Okay, so you're talking about it, but you don't actually do the designs. Okay. What is your name again?
Saumya.
My name is Aditya. I'm a new student, experienced design student.
Okay.
So same masters of design and sit down.
Okay.
I'm Prince and I'm a design student.
Okay. All right. So there's not a, I won't remember your names. It's nice to kind of get a little bit of idea of what some of the stuff you're doing. Actually, we're just wasting time. I'm killing time because I don't like to waste it.
I think let's start.
All right. So
Yeah.
what we're going to do is I'm going to, hopefully we're going to be able to go a little bit over the 2 hours. Hopefully our 2 hours didn't start at 2 because this is going to be jam-packed. There's going to be a time where I'm going to have a schedule up, and some of the schedule is going to be like you have 2 minutes to do a task, all right? And I don't work like a lot of people that you work with, okay? Time for me is time, right? If you don't move on to the next task, you will get lost, okay? What we're about to do is silly and impossible, and I'm going to tell you why I've kind of changed the idea behind it. So the conference is about crossroads, and I hope we're at a crossroads for humanity, and I'm hoping that this crossroads is going to take us someplace better than where we are, because our species is really screwed up. Oh, I mean, we might be on the verge of extinction. It's that bad, all right? Games are the most powerful medium ever created. Why? Games are powerful because we learn them at a very young age, and they're such an important part of our lives that they have a power unlike just about anything else in terms of, it's even before we're really ingesting media that we're already playing games, number one. Number two, they're the most interactive. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop in a moment because I think he wanted to introduce me. This is just the overview. So what we're going to do is, the idea was to do a game design exercise where you're going to work in teams. Before we actually start the teamwork, I'm going to divide you up evenly. But I'm not going to go into game mechanics. I'm going to talk to you about a couple books that I'm going to recommend that you read if you're really interested in the details of game design, both social impact and normal game design. There's 2 books that I'm going to quote and I'm going to give you the titles of. But I realized that if I spent time on mechanics, we would need an hour just for that. And I'm only going to take about 20 minutes in the intro, and we're going to do one exercise, and you're going to have an hour as a team to go through a brainstorming exercise with the idea to come up with a concept for a social impact game, right? And I'm going to challenge you because I'm going to give a prize to the teams who come up with a game that's played in public. Because I do a lot of stuff that's played in public. So if you're going to do social impact, I want to see game designs that are in the public making a difference in real time. Okay, so you won't necessarily, there's going to be a process where as a team, you're going to figure out what issue you're going to deal with and how you're going to do it. What I realized as I was planning the workshop is that my goal, instead of teaching you game mechanics and game design, more than anything, is to inspire you to think different. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I think Shakti has decided not to introduce me. That's okay. Shakti, do you want to introduce me, or should I just keep going? Yeah, I mean, I have actually, one of my first slides is about me, but it's, I have the first one.
Greg is a very multifaceted person. He's a writer, he's a director, he's a producer, and a lot of things he has done in animation and all. He also makes games. That's what I can say. So you are yourself, you can do the...
Okay. So I often start, why isn't this, I turn the switch. Come on. Oh, I hate technology. No, I'm just joking. It's not working. He said to put the switch up, no?
Yeah.
I put it up. Hold on, maybe, now I think it's on. It's not on. Is it? Okay, all right. I often start with this quote from Steve Jobs. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Is it, Shakti, can you hit the button?
Yes, I'll do that.
I don't have that many slides.
No, I'll
so-
do that.
All right.
I'll do that for you.
Like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about why games are so powerful. Games are the most manipulative medium, other than your mother's, on the world. And I'll talk about why that is, and they can be used for good. They can be used for entertainment, and like I have nothing against shooting games. I'll talk a little bit about why they're actually cool and why a lot of the new ones are cooperative. And they can be used for evil, okay? I want to talk to you about how you can create experiences that can literally change the world. So next slide. Okay, so this is the, we're going to go really quickly. I'm going to do 10-minute introduction. We're going to do 5 minutes of a little brainstorming idea. Just click away. Just click anywhere, okay. And I'm going to talk to you about some ideas on, can you turn it down a little bit? It's really loud. I'm going to give you some ideas about brainstorming, okay? Because this is really an ideation workshop. And what a lot of people don't realize is that if you ideate in different ways, your brain will work differently and you'll come up with different ideas, okay? We're then going to have a sample brainstorming session, and I just realized we're missing one of the most important things I've asked for. There's no whiteboard in here.
Whiteboard.
I totally forgot about it. Whiteboard. Okay, so we'll do that without the whiteboard. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. All right, then we're going to have 60 minutes on your thing. There's a schedule, very well defined. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what to do. You're going to do what you can within that time, and then you're going to move on. All right? Don't worry. One of the biggest challenges I face in India is, when I'm working with teams, they're often really shocked by me because several times a day I'll go, "Oh my God, you won't believe the stupid thing I just did," and they're all like, "Yeah, oh," because people don't like to admit that they've done stupid things. I do stupid things all the time. It's this moment where you've learned. You've learned something. So don't worry. You're not going to perfect a game in the next 2 hours. All right? Do what you can. Do not be embarrassed. All right? And to get you ready for that, we're all going to do an experiment. Okay? So first of all, I just want you to move around a little bit. Really, everybody has to do this. All right? And now what I want you to do, I want to go like this and go, ah! Woo! Good. All right. Good. Now we're going. Okay. So the thing is, if you're going to change the world, you have to think different. Oh, I lost my mic. Okay. You really have to get into a different space. So who am I? I'm from Los Angeles. I've been in India. This year will be 19 years. My background is mostly, I started as a writer. I have a master's in playwriting. I was a theater writer, a film writer-director. I directed a feature in San Francisco many years ago. I've written a couple other produced features. I was never famous. I wasn't highly successful. I came to India in 2001 to write a novel. I fell in love with Goa, and I've been there ever since. I've produced and directed one animation live-action TV pilot, and I've been working on gaming on this project for the last 5 years. We create both printed card games. This is a game, it's a revolutionary game that really teaches young people, without them knowing it, to be nice to each other. It's a solution for bullying. And I'm very proud of it because it's doing something that so far, I hope there are other people doing like this. I won't say I'm the only one doing it, but I haven't met anybody else yet. But I'm not going to talk a lot about it. It comes like this in a classroom pack. It has 15 decks, so 30 kids can play at the same time. It's a game that's played outside. There's another version of this, which is available on mobile. The print version hopefully will come soon, where people of all ages run around in the center of a city in small teams, performing acts of kindness and silly deeds, interacting with strangers. So I'm here mostly because Shakti really likes me. He invited me. Anyways, next slide.
It's okay.
Oh, it's working now. No, I'm sorry. I forgot it was there. All right. I'm going backwards. Okay. All right. So what is a game? And these are the two books that I highly recommend. Jesse Schell and the Art of Game Design. This is the Bible of game design. If you want to read about everything having to do with game mechanics, you only need this one game. Jesse says a game is a problem-solving activity approached with a playful attitude. In terms of what we're going to work on today, that word playful is all I really want you to concentrate on. As you're thinking about how you're going to develop a social impact game, just think playful. It's got to be playful. Now, the best book, and we'll be talking quite a bit about Jane McGonigal in the next few minutes, is a book called Reality is Broken. This is the best book on creating social impact games. She's an American developer that's created a few amazing games. She says that games have 4 important characteristics: a goal, rules, a feedback system, and voluntary participation. The last one is the least important in terms of it's very simple to understand, but it's really important to know that it's there. You can't force somebody to play a game, okay? But you can force them in the dark. Okay. There we go. Okay. But what are serious social impact games? Serious gaming are games, it's often called applied gaming, that are designed for a primary purpose other than entertainment. Say, games with purpose. Now, very, very important. I challenge you, if you make a game that's about social impact, it should be fun. You're going to compete with Disney, make stuff that's as cool, as beautiful, as entertaining as they make, but make it powerful, make it empowering, okay? Okay, it's not working. Okay, so has anybody played a social impact game? Anybody remember? What kind of game have you played?
I designed a game to enhance empathy.
Okay, oops, yeah. So he was telling me about that. So this is actually a game that he's designed. Anybody else played any games, any video games that were applied games that talked with social issues? No? Okay, so this is, I asked this mostly just to get a feeling if anybody you had experience. It won't be important. So look at these three photos. Cleaning up the beach, leading a blind person across the street, and playing around in a cemetery. Can these be games? They can. All right? So let's talk about Jane McGonigal. The subtitle of her book is Why Games Make Us Better and How They Can Change the World. The basic premise is that reality is broken because life is boring. If you gamify life, if you make going to work as fun as playing a video game, if you make going to the doctor or learning things as fun as video games are powerful because of the feedback loop. All right? If you're playing hide and seek, the feedback loop is fun, but it's slow. Right? You go and hide, somebody says, I'm looking for you, and you're getting nervous because you hear them getting closer, and somebody says, ollie, action free, come out, that's the game. You won, right? Video games, the feedback loop is extremely fast. Beep, 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 oh yes, I'm doing great. The visuals are coming at you, You can manipulate people in incredible ways, all right? Fortnite, PUBG, they use these to extremes, all right? But if you hear of any parent complaining that their kids are playing video games too much, you tell them I said, that's a problem with the parenting, not with the game, right? If you haven't taught your kids that no means no, and that they have to go off and do other things, that's not a problem with a video game. That's a problem with how you've taught your kid, right? PUBG and Fortnite are cooperative gaming experiences. Yes, you're going into an animated world to kill people, right? And that might sound horrible, but it's not. It's a video game, right? I'm a dramatist. I'm a storyteller. The most significant thing in any story is death. It's the one drama that pushes us, that entertains us, that scares us the most, right? So going to a video game where you're killing people it's the most adrenaline you can get. I'm not saying I don't make any violent video games, but people who think they're bad don't look at the research, right? People who kill each other, we're going to kill each other whether or not they played video games or not. And there's lots of research that says playing violent video games is a release that a lot of people who are frustrated, because modern life is hard. It's a catharsis, exactly. All right, so let's just look at a couple of things. Jane had created a game called Tombstone Hold'em. You go with a group of people into a cemetery, and you basically, with your team touching, you have to touch various tombstones and form poker hands. Right? The game is about getting in touch with and looking at death differently. It was controversial. People thought that they were like, doing bad things to the cemetery. Right? I'm somebody who thinks about death on a daily basis. People think I'm crazy. Death is what gives life meaning. If we lived forever, it would be meaningless. All right? Death is what drives us. If you can't deal with death, if you're worried about it, if you're fears, so much of it stops you. So this is a really cool game. Now, the other game she made is super better. It's a health game. It's an app. And whereas the Tombstone Hold'em is a real game, this is more pointification. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Oops, what happened? Oh, I just turned it off. I got it. Okay, so this is, some of my games. The original Acting Kindly game is a game played in small groups in public. There's a mobile version, which is very early stage, but if you want to go out in the middle of Pune or wherever city you're from, and you want to have, it's one of the most fun experiences you can have. Run around with your friends in public, performing acts of kindness and silly deeds. It's really fun. It's super fun. And now we have the Acting Kindly at School game. All right. So thinking outside the box. People are always talking about thinking outside the box. You know what? Oh, I did it again. We got to burn the box. And I'm not joking. All the things that are the box, religion, nationality, history, the past, culture, all these things that we've felt so important. Our species isn't going to survive if we keep going, holding on to the past. People who think outside the box are letting that box cast shadows and colors on everything they do. I'm going to challenge you to go out there. Just drop everything. Let your brains go so fast that you come up with ideas that were unthinkable. All right? This may sound crazy, but I'm telling you, we are on the brink of destruction. Environmentally, in terms of war, there are so many things that are going wrong in our societies all over the world that if we're going to do this, we have to think big. All right. So, creating real games. There's a huge push towards gamification. Most of it is nothing more than what's called pointification. You take a task, you throw some points on it. You take Duolingo, which is a great app. I love it. I use it every day. My Hindi's getting better. But it's really nothing more than giving people points, giving them reminders, giving them level ups. Okay? So it's right in between the pointification and gamification. Gamification is a little bit more advanced. You add more game elements. You might give them an avatar, levels, other different challenges. I'm mostly interested in real games that are really about playing. So when you're working on your little game, think about that, okay? Sorry, I'm going to move very quickly. So we were supposed to have a whiteboard here. Unfortunately, I totally forgot about it too. Oh yeah. Can we put that up and can you write on it? All right.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So this is what I want to talk about is brainstorming. All right. I do workshops in teaching writing. I used to travel around to India doing a workshop called Adventures in Writing Animation. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the brain works differently depending on the medium you use to brainstorm. If you sit at your computer, your brain will work one way. If you sit with a lined paper and are making a list, your brain will work a different way. If you sit with little cards that can be shuffled around or Post-its, it'll work differently, okay? In writing, we have a saying. Can you do the writing? Okay. We have a saying. When you first start writing, don't get it right R-I-G-H-T, get it written, W-R-I-T-T-E-N. The idea is if you start with your brain, let's just cut the top of the brain off and let it explode. Let everything come out. When you do that, the things come out that are totally unexpected, right? You let everything come out, and then afterwards, great writing is 90% in the editing. But if you worry about grammar or spelling or punctuation or any of these silly things that are easily fixed in the beginning, you will work slower and things will not come out. All right? So in your session, I'm going to guide you through a few different ways of doing stuff. So let's do some brainstorming on a simple target of garbage. Okay? We have garbage. All right? I don't mind chaos. So what we're going to do is I want you to start shouting out anything that comes into your head about garbage. Anything. Yeah, and again, and it can be words, it can be feelings, it can be anything. Yucky, dirty, end of the world, trash can, flight, flies, recycling. She's not going to get everything, but we'll keep going. Recycling, leftovers, plastic, smell, raccoons, okay. And again, and this is a great example. This might sound silly, but when you get into the next part, this may be the most important thing that comes out. Raccoons may be the character. It may be part of your game flow. All right, keep coming. Raccoons. Dogs. And you shouldn't worry anything about spelling. Just get it down. What? Dogs. Compost. Dump. Compost. Dump. Scavengers. Humans. Garbage truck. Death. Okay? Now you can take it bigger. You could say things like pollution. You could put things like government. You know, anything that comes up. Huh? Food. Landfills. Clothing. Did you know that I heard something the other day that 60% of all clothing that never gets used, it all goes directly from people's closets into landfills? Clothing. The landfills, I think that's... Yeah? Come on, we're going to do a few more minutes. Dumping in the ocean. Disease. People. Yeah. People. Environmental damage. Dead sea creatures. Responsibility. What? Electronic waste. Bacteria. Huh? Space debris. Sorting. Thinking. Upcycling. Recycling. Goa, my biggest complaint is garbage on the side of the road. Huh? I can't.
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet. Is it a game?
It's a cartoon character.
Oh, okay. Huh?
It's a superhero.
It's a superhero. Okay. I don't know if I've seen it. It's possible, but there's a lot that I don't know. Okay, keep coming. Space junk? Biogas? Biogas? All right. So you're starting to get the idea. All right, look at the variety of things that we came up with. In that must have been like 3 minutes. All right? So we let the ideas flow. We use different methods. All right? So now, what I'd like you to do is there's paper on your table. I'd like each of you just to take one sheet, and I want you to just write down what for you are the key topics up there on garbage. Right? Or you can make new things up. I just want you to get this is a sensation exercise where you're really just going from this idea of just shouting stuff out to now your brain is going to work differently. And just going to give you 1 minute, minute and a half, just to write down some things on the piece of paper. But pay attention to the feeling of how you feel and how your brain is working from 2 minutes ago till now. Yes? Yeah, so just write down some of the words, anything up there, anything you want about garbage on a piece of paper. Okay, this isn't about content. This is an exercise in you understanding your brain is now working differently than it was 2 minutes ago. Oops. Ah. No, anything you want. Just whatever you can do in about a minute and a half. That'd be great. Just tell me when it's like give me a warning at a minute. Okay, are these all open? Okay. Okay. So tell me when they're at a minute. Okay. All right, stop for a moment. Okay, what I want you to do now is it's kind of like a little 15-second meditation exercise. Just sit quietly and think about how you felt when everybody was shouting and how you felt when you were just working alone. Just pay attention to the feeling. Okay? Felt different, no? Felt different. Okay, now what I want you to do is there should be Post-its on every table. Everybody take like 3 Post-its and write the 3 things that are the most significant from your piece of paper, each on a separate Post-it. Okay, you're going to have just anything from your paper, 3 things that you think are the most important to you. Just write them on a Post-it. Where are we in time? Let's see. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to get here. Here. So it's supposed to be 30 minutes. I think we'll be back on schedule. Now, what time is it now? We're 15 minutes behind, but hopefully we can go 15 minutes over since we started 15 minutes late, no? Okay. Okay, you guys got 3 things written down? And now what I want you to do, are you finished? 3 things? Just one thing on each paper. It can be a word, it can be a sentence, it can be anything, but now I want you to write, you're now thinking in a new way. You're thinking about putting ideas separate. Now, when I write, one of the key things I do, I go to the local stationery store and I buy blank business cards. I have boxes and boxes of blank business cards. I prefer them to Post-its because now the thing that I'm teaching you is that when you work in a medium where it's very easy to move things around, your brain will work totally different. When you look at a lined piece of paper or a computer screen, even cutting and pasting it's a different process to being able to say, hey, what if I put this in front? Oh no, I want to put this here. Or if I try this, okay, if I move things around, your brain works differently, right? So we're going to try that right now. I want you to take 10, 15 seconds, look at the 3 things you wrote, and then put them in order 1, 2, 3 you can do it based on anything. It can be in terms of how significant they are, what you might, how they might be chronologically to you for some reason. Where's the marker? Okay, so now you've experienced yet another way of letting the brain work differently. So, like I said, I don't know if I pointed it out, in the schedule slide, At the very bottom, it said, what we're about to do is impossible. Okay, you know, we don't have the time to design a game, really. We could do like an 8-hour workshop where we could really go through and do some of the things. But one of the things we would do here is the next process, and this is what I want you guys to do when you get in your teams. So the first thing is brain dump. Okay, the next thing is organization. So I might come, can I stand on this? Okay. You might come and start putting things in categories. So like landfill, and then ocean dumping. So you might start thinking, I don't write well, sorry. Okay, you might start putting things that are, where does it end up? Then you might say, what are the things, you have food, you have clothing, right? And you might start putting things in categories based on other categories. Very, very important. Items don't have to be in only one category. Don't let yourself early on in any design start telling yourself what it can and can't be. Keep your mind open. If you have a card or a Post-it that you think could be in every category, duplicate it and put it in every category. All right? Then you start sifting and prioritizing. You say, okay, you know what I'm most interested in is ocean dumping. So I'm going to like take that, I'm going to put a little mark next to it. And you know, here I think, well, of ocean dumping, obviously plastic is this huge issue. So I'm really interested in plastic, right? So you're going to start narrowing down. The narrowing down is what's going to start getting to you. And it's going to be based on your interests. And this is where I'll tell you, there's a lot of young people here. We were at breakfast, I was with a bunch of Europeans, and we were talking about, in a perfect world, you would never go from high school to college. In a perfect world, you would go from high school to traveling around the world and realizing all the things your parents told you were right for your parents. Okay? When my first big trip to Europe, was hitchhiking, and a family in Belgium picked me up and invited me to stay at their house. And at breakfast, I started eating my eggs with my fork. And this little boy, about 8 years old, spoke no English. He was getting really upset. He's like, in Flemish. He's just yelling, like, what's going on? And the mother started laughing, and he said, he wants you to pick up your knife and cut the eggs with the knife and fork and use the knife to shovel the food on the fork, because that's the way we do it. And it was a life-changing moment. It didn't change that moment. It changed later that day, where I was like, oh my God. All these things that people are saying, this is the way you do it, were only the way they do it there. When I told my sister that I don't use toilet paper to wipe my ass in India, she did not believe me. Literally, it took hours for me to say, I'm not joking. We really just wash we use water, And again, part of what I do when I talk, especially to young people, I just want to challenge you. I just want to challenge you to stop and question your world, because it's really that, all of this design stuff, if you don't have that, you're just going to reinforce all the old bullshit, right? But the reason I'm talking about this is because, for me, the key to life is passion. If you become an engineer because that's what your parents want you to be, I believe you're probably going to be an unhappy engineer, an unhappy life, okay? So if you can find your passion. Today, it's going to be interesting, because in a group, you're going to have to negotiate your passions. You're going to have to try to figure out how you can get very quickly, work as a team, make concessions, do a little bit of voting and figure out what you're going to do. All right? So after you sift, again, the reason why this exercise is silly, bordering on stupid, is that we're going to go from here to design in like 30 minutes. Right? This is a process that I've worked on some games I've worked on for a year before I got to the design. Okay? But I just want you to go through the motions so you can feel it. And once you feel it, hopefully then later you'll actually take the time and do it properly. Okay? Any questions? I have a slide at the very end that says there are no stupid questions, except for my parents, they often ask me stupid questions. But no, there are no stupid questions, but we aren't going to have time for questions during the session. I will be around. You can ask me anything. You can ask me why I have a large hole in the bottom of my chapel. It's because I don't care. All right. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. All right. So in your process, when you're doing all this, these are the key things that I want you to go through. Define the problem. All right? Think of solutions. How do you make those solutions playful, or the process from problem to solution playful? Then try to start thinking of specific gameplay ideas. So in the Acting Kindly game, we did ours. The original game has a story. Every team is a spaceship with 2 to 5 players. The person with the deck or with the mobile app is the engineer of the spaceship. The other team members are the crew of the spaceship. And your goal is to fill your tank of your spaceship's fuel tank. So every time you do a deed, you get 1 fuel for your spaceship. When you've done 3, your fuel tank is full, and you have the fuel that lets you go and dock with another team. So once we do 3 things, we run around and we say, hey, do you have 3 fuels? He has 3 fuels. We run over and we say, hey, look, we're all one big team. And we start again. So these are actually specific things that you actually do in the game. All right? Because we don't have a lot of time, be playful. Think about things from your childhood, anything you can think of that are things that you might do. Okay? And then from there, actually, when you start thinking about gameplay specifics, don't put them in order. Again, let them flow, come out. Any ideas you have, you can say, oh, they're going to lay on their back and they're going to look at the sky and count to 10 as they're imagining a big pile of garbage falling on them. I don't know. I'm just making this up. Okay, that may be the first thing they do. It may be the last thing they do. Okay? Oops, wrong way again. All right, so now we're going to start collaborating. Okay, so first of all, I want to divide up evenly. So some of you, huh? You're leaving? I'm a failure. She wants to bail. Why aren't you at Alex's session? Yeah, tell Alex hi. I'm so sad that I'm not here. I'm going with her. You guys have fun? Okay. Nandita, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I hope you had fun. Good. Okay. Here, I give you a present. You can have one. My pleasure. Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for coming. Okay. So some of you guys come up here. Let's see, we have 4, we have 5, that's 9. How many are you back there? You're 5. I think about 5 is going to be about right. So 2 join here, 1 join there. I think that's almost exactly right, and 2 up here. So you guys you're 5 there? Okay, team of 5 is going to be good. So you're here. How many you guys are 5 there? Are you guys part of this? Huh? Oh, you're the volunteers? You don't want to join? You can. Yes. Okay, come up here. And you guys okay with just 4? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Everybody take 1 Post-it. Take 1 Post-it. Do not talk. Do not look at each other. Do not care what anybody else thinks of you. Think for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, about a social issue, a problem. A problem. Think about it as a problem. Okay? It has to be what is wrong. And write down, it can be a word, it can be a sentence, it can be a description, but write down a problem that you're passionate about. Something that you would actually spend your time wanting to work on. Anything in the world. No. We're out of garbage. This was an example. It can be anything. It can be, it can be how to deal with, I joke a lot about parents. It could be how to get your parents to stop, bugging you. It can be anything that you think of as a social problem. Okay, it could be a female problem, a male problem, a human problem, a kid problem, anything that interests you, and write it down. Pick one. You can only pick one, so that's why I want you to think about it for at least a minute, minute and a half. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, you guys have it. If you have any questions, just kind of get my attention. There are no right answers, no wrong answers. Come sit. You can join them if you want. You're leaving? Oh, you're conducting the workshop, okay. Are you not joining? Okay. Okay. So don't, right, great one. And they don't have to be big issues. Okay, oops, I lost it. Sorry about that. Excellent. Okay, very good. Okay. Sorry about that. And again, so I'm seeing some things that are very specific, some things are very big, non-specific. It doesn't matter at this stage. Don't worry about it. Just something that really interests you. Perfect. Okay, does everybody have one? I'll come back and see your guys' after. I'm going to get this cable off my foot. Everybody has one? Anybody not have one? Raise your hand. We'll all make fun of you. We'll bully you right now. No, I'm a joker. Okay, so we're now going to take 10 minutes for you to discuss. So in 10 minutes, I want you to start with just 1 minute. Each of you tell your group why that issue is important, why you think that it might be gamified, anything. Talk about your issue with each other. So you're going to go, you each have 1 minute to do it kind of 1-1-1, so you each have a voice, and then you're going to have 5 minutes to have some discussion, right? And then after that, you're going to do a secret ballot where you're going to choose one issue. And for the rest of the session, you're going to work on one of the issues you picked on, all right? So let your egos relax, okay? Even if you're passionate about an issue, okay? I don't want to see any bloodshed in the room, okay? Okay, so go around 1-1-1. Just start wherever you want. Don't be. Second, everybody freeze, everybody be quiet. Just for a second, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Because of something else that happened, I came up with this idea of the secret ballot because I just wanted to have an easy way to quickly move. So now the first 5 minutes is up. Now you go into discussion. The key idea here is that if you are not necessarily the person who came up with the topic, but you feel passionately about that, or you have a great idea, I want you now to share it. In the next 5 minutes, if you feel amongst your group strongly and you can decide on a topic without the secret ballot, do it. Okay? If you can do that, that's cool. All right? This was my way out to make sure the discussion didn't go on forever, okay? All right, so 5 more minutes, talk about it, add some value to other people's ideas, okay? Cool. If you have any questions, just kind of jump up and down and yell at me.
This topic is
Playing audience in the world, young people in the ages of teenagers to early 20s. It is a really challenging thing, and it can be hilarious. You can do so many things with design. I'm not telling you to do this one, but she said it, a few people were like looking like my interpretation was like thinking, that doesn't really sound like a social problem. Okay, but if you're a teenager trying to figure out what are some of the other topics you're doing?
Reinventing education system.
Huh?
Reinventing education system.
Okay, big one.
How to avoid traffic.
Avoiding traffic. Okay.
I had inequality of opportunity.
Okay. So yeah, and some like what you're doing, some of them may connect. Right?
3 of them kind of
So, all right, so just to do it. But again, most of what we're going to learn in this session is really just keeping an open mind, looking at problems and kind of diving in a little deeper at a time. We're not going to go very deep, but see what you come up about working on teams. Oh, it's okay. So there's a very important thing about working on teams. One of is a team leader, as a somebody who guides teams. One of the most complicated dynamics is making a space where everybody has a voice. I've been in places, there's especially a dynamic between men and women. Men can be much more verbal and pushy. Not always, we know you. No, I'm just joking. I only barely met her. I'm only joking. But so what I really want to emphasize for the rest of this process, if there's somebody being shy, you should bully them into talking. No, I'm joking about that too. No, you should try to do everything you can. If somebody is less talkative, or if somebody's being super talkative, be polite. But just say, hey, look, in this process, part of what we're doing is trying to hear everybody. You never know. For me, my dream is to build a company where the woman who comes in and sweeps the floor is going to sometimes sit down and you're going to say, hey, we're doing this, what do you think? Okay? If we're going to change the world and we're going to do a good job, it's going to be inclusive. The Ambanis aren't going to be telling us what to do, okay? All right, I'm not joking, okay? I believe that one of the reasons why I can do what I do is I grew up in a fairly poor family. I mean, we had like food stamps and welfare at some point. I'll be very honest, being poor in America isn't the same as being poor in India. We had a house with electricity and running water and toilets and all that, but compared to most Americans, we were rather poor. I quit a job making $350,000 a year when I was back in my 30s because it bored me. My family was pretty pissed off. And that was after spending 15 years where I averaged working only 2 weeks a year, and I traveled over the world as a writer. So I've traveled around with eating only bread and jam because I couldn't afford any more when I was in Vienna or someplace expensive. And I've had the opportunity to have lots of things. So that diversity allows me to say, hey, look, if I'm going to understand the person who's sleeping on the sidewalk in Calcutta, you know what? I got to sit on the goddamn sidewalk. Okay, and I've done that in Calcutta, and I learned a lot of stuff. You'll be shocked to know that what I learned, the number one thing I learned my first trip to Calcutta, is most of the people that I met sleeping on the sidewalk in Calcutta were happier than almost any American that I knew. Okay? Because they were satisfied. They were satisfied with where they were. And that, I don't want them to be there, and I know that they can be happier in a different situation, but it taught me that happiness isn't connected to having, it's connected to accepting. That was a life-changing experience. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, hopefully you can just, with your things, write one word or 2 words or something on a Post-it. If you haven't already decided, who's decided already which topic you're doing? Have you guys decided? Has anybody decided? You guys think for sure? Okay. It's okay if you haven't. What I want you to each do is each person take one Post-it. Everybody take one Post-it. Write down a word or 2 that makes it clear which topic you're interested in doing. Have you already voted? Yes. You voted? Okay, you came up with yours? Okay, perfect. Don't say your topic out loud. Okay, only you should know about it. It may be that two of you have chosen the same topic. It doesn't matter. At the end, you're going to do a little presentation. You're going to tell us what you did, all right? But I want you to work in your groups. I don't want to have this cross flow. So just write, if you haven't voted yet or you haven't decided, do it quickly. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, he's asking what happens if everybody on the team writes their topic. Okay? It may happen, all right? In which case I have a solution. But this is actually one of the things I was most interested in seeing if it happens. You guys just did it. Have you already done it? Okay, and you all wrote your own topic? Okay, so give me the topics. Put them. Take your, whatever you wrote on your vote. Yeah, you wrote your votes on Post-its? Where are they? Okay, you guys each voted for your own topic, right? Okay, fine. You're different. You're the female. I'm thinking. Let's see. How are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? How? Oh, is that what you're going to do? Let's do it. That's it. That's it. Perfect. Okay. So just choose one. Okay. Drum roll. Come on. I can't open it. Okay. Eliminate religion. Okay. And I want you, all right, everybody put their hand in. Put your hand in. Ready? Because you're a team. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Okay. Right? So if you're team members, if you didn't get your topic, you can't take your ball and go home. You're not Donald Trump. Okay? You're now going to work as a team. You've chosen it. Do it. You guys came up with one? You chose. Okay. You guys are ready? You guys are ready? You guys already had one, right? You guys have chosen? Okay. Have you guys chosen? Yes, okay. Okay. So now 10 minutes. Okay. You now have 10 minutes to brainstorm. Everybody stop 1 second. This is the brain, hello. This is the brain dump. This is the brain dump. You can do it with one person writing. You can all write separately, but you should do it as a group. All right? If you have an idea, you verbalize it. You may talk over each other. Let it flow. Write everything you can. You can write it on chart paper. You can write it on line paper. You can write it on Post-its. All right? Brain dump. You only have 10 minutes to dump everything from your brain. Okay?
Reality.
Disconnected.
That's not a failure. That's
No, there was like a slide. What is this?
judgment. This can consciousness
Consciousness. Okay, thinking, we should understand that thinking before speaking is one thing, but thinking and communicating wrongly, like, that's
Yeah.
So like, understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sometimes. You think.
Human.
Time is up. Like 20 times. Okay, oh, good. That's what I was hoping. Okay, everybody, for the moment, I would like you to be quiet. Okay, who feels that they're really ready to present their idea? You guys are okay? Okay, I know you guys need, how about you? Okay. Okay. Okay, because I don't really want you talking while the other people are presenting. So what we'll do is, again, I told you in the beginning that we were going to fail. All right? So actually, and I think it's really, I work with a lot of startups. I mentor startups now and again, and I tell them, Amongst the most difficult challenges in India for startups is you don't like to admit you failed. All right? So what I want to do is everybody give yourself a big round of applause. You know why we're applauding? You failed. You failed. You didn't do it. Okay? All right? Life is a process. It's a process. All right? To do something great takes a lot of failure. When the moment you become aware that you have failed, this is the key moment of learning. It's the key moment. If you do not, and I have to tell you a very quick story. I was working with an animation team in Delhi, and these guys kept screwing up the skinning of one of the characters, and every time they would send me, on a daily basis, they'd send me the character, and I'd play the animation, and his ass would pull out, or something would go so weird. And it went on for like 3 weeks, and every day I said, do you have an idea what's happening? Yes, sir, we know what's going on, we're doing it. And at 3 weeks, I lost it. And I'm a pretty like patient person, and I started screaming profanity at this guy on the phone. I said, you stop, you stupid. And he was shocked. I mean, I lost it. And I started yelling, I said, say I don't know. Just say it, say I don't know. And he said, Greg, I don't know. And I'm not joking, the problem was solved an hour later. His brain finally said he didn't understand. He went out with a totally different attitude, and he solved the problem. Okay? So celebrate your failures. When you screw up or you don't know, get your team together, go out, have a drink, yell and scream and say, we're screwing up. Okay? Because everybody who's done something great has failed over and over and over again. The problem isn't failing. Tell your parents it's okay. We screwed up. The challenge and the success comes from seeing the failure, admitting the failure, and realizing that if it didn't kill you, you're stronger. And you go on and you learn, okay? All right, so what I want you to do is everybody, your pens are now down. You're not talking. You're going to come up. These guys wanted to go first. Anybody else feel comfortable just to come up here? Okay, you'll go second. Anybody else? What you're going to do, you're going to have 4 or 5 minutes. You're going to come up as a group, and you're just going to talk out whatever you come up with. You have more than one idea. You have different things. Just very quickly, give at least some little voice to everybody. We have a mic. So guys, come up. Tell us what you did. Give us, very quickly, the easiest thing to start with. What was the problem? And when I say problem, don't give us the big one. Give us the problem you came down to after sifting and organizing. And then just do as much about the game as possible. And everybody, please now, it's okay that you're not finished. I'm shocked that your game isn't about to be released on Switch this afternoon. Okay, it's okay. All right? So please just pay attention, because this is a new learning experience. You're going to see what they did and what you did, and even when you're talking, you're learning, okay? Cheers. Go for it.
All right. The game that the name of the game is called Plastic Warriors. The problem that we are trying to solve is that at society level, people are not really encouraged to segregate their plastic waste, organic waste. And, there is always a problem which multiplies into a bigger problem at a city level. And finally, a lot of plastic does end up getting in the landfills. So we have designed a game to create some kind of a motivation or an incentive at society level for people to participate and make a difference. So the game goes like this. Like most of you at home would be segregating your plastic. You're supposed to segregate plastic waste separately, organic waste separately, and other miscellaneous waste separately. So the idea is that you encourage people to do that at household level. The garbage guy who comes to your flat to collect that garbage, he's going to rate you on how well you have segregated things. Because in my house also, I've got several times complained by that garbage guy saying, hey, you guys are mixing up things, don't do it this way. And he was a bit upset about it. And like, let's say if it was put into a scoring system where I knew that somebody was going to rate me for it, and that scoring is going to be visible, or I'm going to get some points for it, it would have made a difference. So, so once the waste is collected by the garbage man, there's a little game that can be played there, which is called Guess the Weight. So when you submit the garbage to that garbage guy, he's going to ask you like, hey, how much do you think the plastic weighs? And you would say, oh, so much. The guy says, actually puts it on the weigh balance, on a spring balance, and checks it. He says, no, it's this much. And he puts it into the app. So the idea here is to create more awareness to the person wasting plastic so that the per user plastic consumption also goes down per household. And it's gamified a bit, so you are aware that, yes, my weight should be going down and not going up, like whenever you're submitting the garbage. Once the waste is going, like some societies have biocompost, and now they have made it compulsory also to have some biocompost kind of a setup in the society. You get points for contributing to that biocompost as well. So your weighed biocompost waste would be put in there. You're getting points for putting in the biocompost waste. And yeah, like the idea is that at society level, essentially, there would be like top performers and things like that, where on the app you'll be able to see how good a plastic warrior you are. And then like this app would also compete like between societies. So like one society, let's say, is doing a better job at it than the other society, there can be prizes or rewards given for same. So this is how we'll gamify plastic usage or plastic segregation problem at home.
Good. Good start. Okay. We're actually much later than I thought. It's already 4:20. So please come up and just go as quickly as you possibly can. We started late, so. Okay. All right. Who's next? You guys ready? Okay. Come up just really as quickly as possible as you can. You can all come up. You can come up like these guys, however you decided.
Check. Hello. Okay. Hi. Hello. Yeah. So we started with a broad challenge of basically eliminating religion from school. That's what we all decided. So from there, we pushed ourselves into a very tight spot because we couldn't understand how to gamify this. So what we basically did, we took Greg's help. Thank you. And what we've done is that we've decided that this could be basically a game where kids or even normal like adolescent kids can also play the same game. What we've basically done is that the entire game is about forming a sentence. It could be meaningful, but at the end of it, it could also turn out to be gibberish. But the goal is to understand that all languages, like underneath a religion or underneath a particular language, there's a deep-rooted meaning. And what we basically want to tell everybody is that under this, everybody is just the same. The meaning stays the same. So the goal basically here is that we could have decks or cards printed in Sanskrit, English, Urdu, and Hebrew. And each card is a word. There's a translation for this particular word. There's a meaning associated to the particular word. The game starts when the game basically starts when with all the players being distributed cards, and one person puts a card down, and the other person is now going to think that, okay, what goes best with this? So it could be a Sanskrit card, it could be a Jewish, it could be a Hebrew card, it could be an Urdu card, or it could be even an English card. So ultimately, in the end, what they get to see is either a sentence which is basically an amalgamation of all the religions. Yeah, so that's it.
All right, and that's good. I wanted to point out, again, when I talk about this being an iterative process, one of the problems they ran into is they started out with this problem sentence of eliminating religion from school. And when I came to challenge them, I pointed out This is a game to be played by politicians or school administrators or teachers. Okay, you could make a game like that makes them realize that we should eliminate schools. And that's not really what they were thinking about. So it's an iterative process. You go through everything we've done today, and then you test your problem, and you say, oh no, we don't want to do a game for school administrators. We want to do it for kids, in which case you have to think about it differently. And so they had some real problems. I'm surprised that they came up with something in the last 5 minutes like this, so good job. But again, that's how this whole thing works. Who's you guys going next? Just come up with whatever idea. Throw out a couple of ideas. Don't be frustrated. This is, like I said, we failed. We knew we were going to fail.
Hi. So the problem we chose was of having a slip of tongue when we were communicating in a social situation. And we chose that because we felt that factors like confidence or like even fear of talking to people or strangers affects that. And we focused on the fact that communication is what is most important. We do not want to get bogged down by the constructs of language and vocabulary and being correct or being wrong, as long as the idea that you are trying to communicate gets across. So,
yeah, we haven't actually come up with a game, but one interesting thing was while defining the problem statement, we were actually going through the problem that we had selected. So that was interesting. Other than that, the key points that we focused on, that we came up with were things like pictures or words that mean something or don't mean anything. For example, we were thinking about having cards with words on them that mean something and words that don't mean anything, and then forming a sentence out of the words that would.
or like, you know how we thought that the scope of this game could be very large, especially in like a place like India where you're constantly needing to interact with people who are most comfortable speaking in a different language. So we tried to eliminate vocabulary entirely from our game, which we haven't come up with, but okay. And focus on things like maybe actions and body language or colors and forms. So if I like something interesting, like you know how if I say two words, Takita and Maluma, you would, and I had two forms, like I had this form and I had this form. Which one would you assign Takita to and which one would you assign Maluma to? You can all like, which form is... Exactly what we're trying to show, that, you know, words don't, like, random words and random forms can be connected to express an idea. Neither does Takita mean anything, neither does Maluma, and these forms don't have any relation to the thing because we don't actually know the words. So that's the kind of, like, the line of thought that we're following right now, and we'll come up with something, hopefully. And if you have ideas, we'd like you to share it with us.
Yeah, good. Okay, so part of this process is part of what you're learning is how complicated this process is, okay, and how iterative. So, next, you guys in the back? Where did you get? What happened to the team in the back?
You're vanished, so I'm the only one left, so I joined this team.
What happened?
They left for some other.
Okay, that's fine. All right, we have one less team. So you guys almost ready? Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys are going.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Avinash here. We had decided a topic of divided society, and like we were trying to find out what are the issues, how, like, at what levels we divide society. So it is racial, religion, financial, gender, geographical, generic. There are some generic biases. Then age factor is where we also divide, physical appearance, and so many other things. There is no limit to that. On what basis we, you know, differentiate and do things. So we decided to give it as a common name, which is a physical appearance. Instead of a racial, we thought physical appearance would cover, under that umbrella, everything. Second important aspect was ideological divisions, and third is a financial one. So after that, we tried to gamify this. Couple of ideas came to our mind. The first idea was think of a male and a female from different religion or different color, and when they get married and how their offspring will look like. So they create something, and that cute somebody looks very interesting, and that creates some kind of a interest in that. Okay. Second one is some stranger joins your group and you don't know his background, his wherever he comes from, and nothing about his family, and so you put yourself in his shoes. So it would be some kind of a virtual experience. So you wear that something, and then you can see his mother, father, or relatives or close friends, and you can see them very clearly and closely and understand how the background is. So that could be some of a different kind of a game. And rest you can talk about.
I am Jordi, and I came across one problem when I was making this game. Is the thing is like they're from India, and there is some things like caste that I don't have in my country, so it was a bit difficult. So to make it real simple and quick, let's say like we're talking about racial profiling, ideology, religion, and your political and this financial stature or something like this. So this game is like a board. There is born, education, profession, and family. And between them, there is situation. So you start the game with card, like you white, you black. So you pick a random card. And because we're talking about white privileges and things like this, let's say you white, you have +2. And when you're black, you only have you have +3. And when you're black, you have +2 only. So now we're showing you it's awareness about the privilege. So you're aware about it. So now you have the card, which means you have +2. You shuffle, how do you call this, the dice. And the dice says that, okay, you have 5, for example, on the dice. So you are in education. Education, for you to cross this education and move to profession, you need 30 points. So that means each one of you will shuffle until you get 30 points. But when you are here, because you're white, you understand, you have +2 every time, you understand? +2, and I only have +1 because I'm black. Okay, now this is one thing. Now, when we cross, you might finish first because it's based on luck also. Because you shuffle the deck, and so you go to profession. But between profession and education, there's a situation. So there is a deck. So you pick a deck, you can have an accident, which is a disability. I don't know if my pronunciation is disability. So now, when you have a disability, that means like you have -1 every time. Just for you to be aware that a blind, someone with one arm, you understand, is he has less, how can I say, less opportunities. For you, it's to make you aware, you understand, of things. When you see someone, to know his situation, how difficult is it for him also to get a job? It's not easy. So now you are in profession. So you have the disability card. So you shuffle the deck, you have 10. But because you have the disability card, it's -1. So now it's 9 instead of 10. So until you're done with profession, and now you go to family. You're about to make a family. You're happy. So now you shuffle the deck again because there's a situation. And now we have caste.
Okay.
You cannot have...
I have to stop you.
Yeah, sorry.
We're out of time. But everybody, big round of applause. So, as you go into this, as a game developer, introducing luck into the game has advantages and disadvantages. In this particular game, I think that as you went more and more into the details, you would eliminate more and more of the luck, because the power of the game is realizing some people are screwed because of where they're born. But that was great. Really good job. Really good job. Okay, last one. Come on. Quickly as possible. I'm really sorry I didn't keep better track of time. Oops, careful.
No, that was fast.
Okay, come on, everybody quiet. Let's last one.
So hi, our problem statement was finding passion. So this is for teenagers, you can say from 16 years to 20 years of age. So what usually, the problem that they face is there are a lot of choices, there are a lot of external influences that they face. Also the innate ability to understand what are their weaknesses and their strengths. So we came up with this game, it's called What's Behind the Door. So the game goes about, imagine a vast room and it is full of multicolored doors. It could be yellow, orange, green, blue. And randomly you go, there would be, randomly you go stand in front and you choose a door to enter into. And you enter into a room and in that room there would be specific tasks. Okay, so it could be based on you have to solve a code to get past the next room. So in such a way, we have created several rooms and each of the rooms would have certain kind of skills. And so what happens is when a lot of strangers, when you go through a room, because it is time-based and pressure-based, your innate abilities come out. You actually physically solve those kind of issues and then you move past. And towards the end of it, it gives you a whole list of outcomes wherein what are the skills that you have solved, what are the problems that you have solved, what are the things that you have skipped. So in short, it gives you a list of strengths and your weaknesses. So
cool.
That's
cool. All right. So first of all, thanks. I'm a little bit embarrassed because I'm very punctual and I feel bad for whoever's next and whatever because we've gone way too long. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you learn stuff and that it's, again, more than anything, I just want you to think about how these things happen, okay? Thank you so much. You guys did amazing. It was really fun.